ready?
Yes.
I'm ready. Are you guys ready? It's Pro to Amateur, the hassle of hair, episode 2 of Pro to Amateur, episode 84.
Pro to amateur or amateur to pro?
It's Pro to Amateur.
Okay.
Because we have the pro first, then we got the amateurs. You guys, this episode, we highlight Alexis Davis and 4 other amateurs, martial artists, all women on one platform. Talk about how martial arts changed their lives, on how what their journey has done for them. This is what I want to do with the episode. This is basically like this is awesome. This, for me, it's awesome getting to talk to all these women in martial arts and seeing their perspective. And today we got Alexis Davis, UFC fighter. She's fighting this month on the UFC. She is, hold on, let me get that. I always am not prepared because we had technical difficulties before we started this, right? We had a little bit of technical difficulties. I had to figure it out because I am a whiz at the technology now. I'm like, you might as well hire me, Facebook. Really, hire me. I'm ready. I'm waiting for that phone call.
Our producer sucked today.
All right. Okay. Well, you don't have to put me down.
No one knows that you're our producer.
Okay. So let's go. We're here. So Alexis Davis is fighting Sabina Mazo in a bantamweight bout on February 27th, 2021, UFC Fight Night 186. You guys, this is an epic fight if you're not a casual fan, because Sabina Mazo, she is a stand-up fighter, really quick, really fast, very technical. So is Alexis Davis. So how do I see this going? It's going to be a fight, guys. I love this matchup. I really do. But yes, we highlight Alexis Davis. We also, today we have Gloria Tellez, martial artist, Taekwondo black belt. We have Yanit Garcia. When we interviewed her, she celebrated her 1-year anniversary for marriage. So congrats to them. And Yana is a beast. Beast amateur in Muay Thai. We have Shanna, who's another Muay Thai specialist of 11 fights in amateur. Beast. She really, her interview was so full of energy. And then we have Carla. Carla, you know Carla.
Yes. Carla from CSA.
Yes.
Carla, very nice girl, very sweet girl.
One of the nicest people I've ever got to meet during this whole entire martial arts journey. And the future is bright for her in anything that she does, right? She's a martial artist. Overall, just nice person. All of these women on here are nice, humble people, right? They're all fighters. And if you're listening and you're a man that doesn't know how to defend themselves, they could probably kick your ass. Just saying. I'm just saying. Like, Alexis Davis, she's been training so long, she's literally an assassin now, right? She could kill people with her bare hands. It's kind of brutal, right?
She'd probably kill you with her bare hands.
She's a beast. I got to spar her once, right? And so I'll tell you the story. She probably doesn't remember. So I got to go train at CSA for an MMA class. I think Darren was teaching it. Stop name dropping, Jesse. I had the opportunity. My coach, she grew through CSA, so I had the opportunity to go train there. And seeing Alexis Davis there when we're doing MMA kind of made me realize, like, okay, dude, you're in the shit, right? Like, you're training. You're trying to become a fighter, because you don't realize when you're going through your journey that these moments that are just cool, right? And when I seen Alexis Davis, I was like, she fights in the UFC. I'm some fat dad. We're both training in the same class. Like, this is cool, you know? Like, I don't know. But she's always been the most humblest, nicest person I've ever met. And she agreed to do this show.
She agreed to go along with Jesse's crazy idea.
My crazy ideas.
Like everybody else. Get on the crazy train.
So enjoy this episode, guys. They're just going to be back to back to back. Alexis Davis is first, then Gloria, then Carla, then Janet, then Shanna. Like Hannah, but Shanna, right?
He's really bad with names, and we do apologize for anybody's name he did mess up.
Sorry. But this pro to amateur is really, really time consuming. With trying to coordinate with people to get their interviews, with trying to do this, put it all together. And it's a beast, but I really, really love it. And I really want to highlight what martial arts can do for you, not only at the pro level, not only at the amateur level, but just for an individual looking to better themselves in life. It's an amazing thing. I'm just a fat dad that decided to start fighting. Changed my life. I was sitting back thinking about it today, and it's just martial arts has brought me so many cool things. And I've literally only had 4 fights, and it's changed my life. And I hope this can inspire somebody for it to change their lives. Like my wife over here to start training.
You pointing at me?
Yeah. So, do you want to tell them our first sponsor? Can you introduce our first sponsor? Not our new sponsor, but the first one.
Our first sponsor is Diego from Adaptive Sessions.
Yes.
Who is purple belt?
Yes,
in
purple belt.
jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
He does pad holding, and he is certified in kettlebells.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I should know this. You've been saying it for like 10 episodes.
Yes, and if you need a personal trainer that will hold mitts for you, will show you a good time, will
that sounds like a dating service.
I'm sorry, I can't say it like that.
No.
We'll hold mitts for you.
Professional.
We'll show you kettlebells and just really get you a good workout.
Good workout.
It's hard, like there's so many people doing pad work.
And it's a one-on-one thing, so you get to work, one-on-one.
And there's so many people doing pad holding, right? Personal pad holding. But the guy's legit. Learned under, I forget how to say his last name, but Coach Eric, a very, very well-known and really good coach, right?
Yes.
And now Diego's kind of just showing what he's learned. And not only was he showing Muay Thai, but he's doing kettlebells. That's an awesome workout, guys. That's all you need.
Wait, why did you say Muay Thai?
What?
Never mind. Go on. Finish.
He did Muay Thai, like pad holding.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm lost.
What do you think he was teaching? And talk into the mic, please.
What do you think he's teaching?
Oh, there you go.
I was talking into the mic.
No, you see how this...
Jesus.
She doesn't know because of editing purposes, because I'm very...
You went over 5 minutes. Let's go. Hurry up.
I'm very technical, and I know technology now. You guys, I'm telling Google, please hit me up. I need a job. So Google, hit me up. If you want me to take care of your computers, I will do it. I will do it, Google. But yes.
Don't Google, because you can't even babysit an iPad.
What did you say? Babysit?
Babysit. You dropped the iPad, so that means you're not very good with computers, so you're not very good with iPads.
That is very true. Very true. Okay. And we are excited to announce our new and awesome sponsor. We are powered by the Monterey Bay Travel Lodge. You guys, we are very excited for this because it's in Monterey, right? And we are going to
say, guess where they're located? Monterey.
But if you do decide to, when you decide to stay there, because you are, if you look into my eyes and if you're listening to this, listen to my voice. If you are willing to stay there, or when you are, when you are. The Monterey Bay Travel Lodge. At the Monterey Bay Travel Lodge, they are located near the Monterey Bay Aquarium, Fisherman's Wharf, Pebble Beach. You guys, if you really want to stay right by a beach and have a good time, it's almost Valentine's Day. So guys, give your wife a gift. Take them to the Monterey Bay Travel Lodge. If you do mention the hassle of hair, you get a 12%. I said 12%, not 10%, not 11%, 12% discount on your next stay there. You guys, we are going to go travel and go stay there soon, right? I'm going to take my wife. We're going to have an excellent time. But yes, please go support those that support us. Hopefully that I hypnotize you guys.
Hopefully that's not cringy enough.
But yes, go support those.
Links will be in bio.
Yes, the links will be in bio. And if you have not yet, subscribe, like, notifications on YouTube. It really helps us out and engage see who's listening and try to get you those episodes to you so you don't forget. So go ahead and subscribe. Stop what we're doing. Subscribe. Press pause. Subscribe right now. And then notifications on. And then go back to listening. I'll wait. Okay. Thank you for doing that for us. Also, if you are an Apple Podcast, give us a review. Tell us how we're doing. You guys, it really does push us. Anything engaging, right? Anything that you message us, share us on Instagram, on Facebook, to a friend, it really helps. Mm-hmm. So if the least that you could do, if you don't want to share on social medias, the least that you could do is just tell a friend. If you really like this episode, tell a friend, send it to a friend, send the link to a friend. And it really helps us out a lot. And we're always willing to answer questions. So go ahead and message us as the Hassle of Hair on Instagram and Facebook and all the social media. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy the episode. Pro to Amateur. Cal, anything else to say?
Enjoy your Tuesday.
Enjoy your Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy your life, guys. Enjoy your fucking life. I'm going to say it right there and then.
Whoa, you're being a little aggressive.
Sorry.
You have too much energy
I love this episode. I love this episode. You guys, well, Alexis.
Let them listen. Let's go. Come on.
All right. Alexis Davis, guys. UFC fighter. MMA legend. Trailblazer. It's this. It's that. It's the Pro to Amateur. Hassle of Hair. Episode 2. But the Hassle of Hair. Episode 84. We on. We going. We live. I love you guys. Have a great week. We out. Peace.
You know what? I started off in a very small town, a little East Coast Canada, way back my Port Colborne for my little hometown people. And it was, it wasn't, we didn't have a whole lot, I barely trained with females. I had few and far between, and it was just, we just did kind of, the best that we could do with what we had. We started off small, mainly jujitsu. That was my main background. And then just implementing things as we go. But it wasn't really until that I made the transition and moved over into California where things just, I never really realized how much that I needed to add and implement into my game to become more of a well-rounded fighter. There was, in my high school, we didn't have wrestling. We didn't, a lot of people grow up, you had a wrestling team in your high school. We didn't have that. Our town was so small, and it wasn't really until that I moved out here that I really, really got a chance to kind of, play with that part of my game.
And you said that you moved from Canada to California. On making that decision, how big was it for you? How did that come to be?
I had no idea what, I kind of like that story. I just came here with my suitcase and kind of see what was going to happen. I had no idea. I didn't know how long I was going to be here. What, I was sleeping at my friend's house until I kind of figured things out. So I was just, this was the place to be though, California, especially for women. It was the mecca for women's MMA. I never trained with so many high level athletes, especially, the ladies. So it was a whole new world for me. And it actually took me a long time to feel comfortable here before I really felt like this was my home.
Yeah. And it's crazy because your first pro fight was against Sarah Kaufman, correct?
Yes.
And she's a big name in women's MMA too. So you you didn't get the, how's it going, little man? You didn't get the nice upbringing in MMA. Your first fight was against a beast. And
my first fight was pro.
Yeah.
Even too.
I didn't know that. So you didn't fight
Yeah.
amateur at all?
No.
So crazy. So you ended up, your first fight was out of California, right?
No, my first fight was in Winnipeg, Canada.
Okay. And how do you, because you first started off when women's MMA wasn't a thing. It was more of, so people don't understand is that Ronda Rousey, when she got into the UFC, that was the start of women being in the spotlight. And you were part of that core group with Ronda Rousey, Sarah Kaufman, Tanya Evinger, all that group of women that basically pioneered women's MMA. It's kind of weird because it was at a long, UFC had been around for a long time, but women's MMA didn't start till years later.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're a pioneer of MMA?
Yeah. And like, I remember there's provinces and states where we were the first women's fight ever. Like in Canada, it wasn't legal for the longest time. And, you know, gradually in the US, state by state. So, yeah, that was like a huge thing. And by the time that we actually got signed with the UFC, I already had like, God, I had already been fighting for, I don't even know how many years before that. And you just kind of took it as you came. And like a lot of my beginning fights were like, hey, I got to fight next week. You want to fight? So you always just had to be ready. Like, cause that's how you had to take them. You had to take them on constantly on short notice, or, you know, a lot of them were on Indian reservations. You know, I fought in Niagara Falls over in the US side because we could fight on the Indian reservation. So they had it out in the Seneca Casino, and they had a big promotion out there, and it was great, and that was huge, and especially for the fighters in the area. And then gradually, even as the UFC came, it started to become legal in more areas.
And when you first got into MMA, how did your family feel, and the people around you? Did they think you were crazy? Did they accept it?
Oh, you know what? My family's awesome. They were all for it. You know, my mom watches my fights still like this, you know, half the time. She's like, I need to have a beer first, you know. But they're huge. They're supportive. And you know what? They used to come out to every single one of my fights, you know, up until I had my son, you know, and my niece ended up getting sick. So, but since then they were at every fight. They got to come out when I fought Liz Carmouche, and we did it on the Army base. That was really cool experience.
Was that the first time you fought Liz Carmouche? Was on the Army base?
Yeah.
So that was the first time, right? Speaking about Liz Carmouche, your second fight with her was that was crazy. Speaking of, I wanted to ask you on being your family in general, right? You having a son, and the Liz Carmouche fight, I think you already had him, right? The second fight?
Yes.
Raphael, correct?
Yeah.
And you had that big knot on your head from the Liz Carmouche fight. And how, as a mom, how does that feel coming home after a fight? And either way, win or lose, you're going to have bumps or bruises. People don't realize that. The winner and the loser are hurt no matter what. And as a mom, how does your son adjust to that? And how is it being a fighter and a mom at the same time?
I'm not gonna lie, you know, especially now that he's getting older, he'll be 5 in March. And like, even after my last fight, he was like, Mom, you know, he felt really bad. And I could tell that he was like, almost wanted to cry because he could see like that. Cause I got so much scar tissue in my face for, you know, the multiple years that I've been doing it, especially when I was cutting down to 125, like it doesn't help much. And I just, you know, broke my heart to see that I broke his heart with my poor face. So it's not easy. It's hard. And it's it is. It's hard as a mom, and I'm a single mom too. So like, it's, you know, you feel that, I imagine you probably feel it regardless. You get that parenting guilt when, you know, I have to go off and I got to go train, you know, mommy's got to go to work. You know, you can't be there 24/7, which I know a lot of parents feel like. So, and, you know, but everyone's like, you know, he'll understand when he's older. And now, you know, luckily he's a little bit older now, and I can, you know, start taking him with me, and a little bit more challenging this time, you know, this day and age with the whole pandemic, but yeah. You know, but now, you know, I go for a run and, you know, he can ride his bike, or, you know, I can sit and even just working out, shadow boxing in the garage, you know, he can come and he can join with me. So
it becomes easier as they get older. And the one thing I notice about parent fighters, they're just different. They're so much different. There's so much more riding on, I don't want to say on their back. They're just a motivation that not with fighters that don't have kids, they don't have, right? Mothers and fathers that fight, they just have a different kind of motivation. I was actually talking to a buddy of mine that has a son. Has a daughter, Anthony Doe, and it's all about her. And I'm assuming your fighting's all about your son, right? And it's amazing that you're a mom in the UFC. It's awesome. I really like that. But
it has made me smarter too. I was one of those people that I live at the gym. I train 24/7, but you know, I got so many injuries from overtraining and, you know, not taking that time to rest or taking those breaks in between. But now I kind of have to, okay. I'm going to get, you know, I'll get like my 3 training sessions in for the day, but, you know, I gotta leave at this time. I got to go, you know, pick up my son from school. I got to go do this, you know, we need to have some mommy and me time. So it makes me be a little bit more structured on how I spend my time.
You have to be way more organized too, probably.
Yeah.
You said something, you brought up your niece, right? And I know that she got sick. Can you tell us a little about your niece and what she's going through?
Yeah, you know what? It was, we found, because, oh my goodness, I'm like, how many times have the 3rd time I fought Sarah Kaufman, back in Canada, we found out that she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So that was crushing. And I just took some time off throughout my period in there just to be there for my family. But, you know, she's still fighting it, you know, to this day. And she's still, you know, she motivates me. You know, she's a way stronger, you know, not just fighter in itself, but as an individual. Like the amount that those kids have to go through, you know, I break my heart every time I go into you know, when she go get treatment. But, you know, they're just enjoying those little things in life. I think that we take advantage of, you know. They're just, you know, happy to, hey, you want to sit here and, you know, take time in your day. And she loves Legos, you know, build Lego set, you know. And sometimes you're like, no, I'm too busy. I got this, I got to work. I got paperwork I need to do, but no, just to take that time in and just, you know, enjoying those things that, you know, sometimes you don't put aside for yourself. It's hard. It's hard, especially now. Like I haven't been home in a while with COVID and everything. You know, thank God for technology nowadays. You know, we can FaceTime, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not.
You know,
the same.
it's I don't even know how my sister does it. Like she's got 3 girls. My niece Hayden, she's the oldest, and she still helps. She looks after her little sister. Like it's, you know, some days she gets a little bit more tired than others, but she's just like any other kid.
Yeah. Well, I will be praying for her and that she stays healthy the rest and grows up to be a really good adult. I don't know what I'm saying right now because I feel bad. I feel bad for her. it's crushing to know that kids have to go through that. And I don't know what your sister goes through, and I hope the best for her. And speaking about motivation and why you fight, I like to ask people this, and them going after their passions. What is your why? What is the reason why you do the things you do? Train all day, fight in a cage with other women. What is your why?
Why do we punch people? Yeah, it's changed over the years, to be honest. You know, I think I've gotten to the point in my career, it's really like, and like I said, like I had a long break in between. I went and I had shoulder surgery. And it's, you know, it's just something inside you. It's not even, you know, people have to be angry to fight or, you know, have some sort of, but for me, it's just the level of competitiveness. Like, we could be playing a war game and I'm still going to compete as hard as I can against you. Like, my brothers used to hate playing video games with me because I would get so competitive all the time. So now really for me, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I love to compete. I love to push myself to see how far I can push myself, not just physically, but the whole emotional level that comes with it as well. The whole mental aspect.
Awesome. And I think that successful people that's the one thing they always have, is to push their boundaries, right? To be uncomfortable.
And there's nothing more uncomfortable when you're, you know, on the ground and somebody's trying to, you know, put you out.
And speaking about training, I know that you have a different camp now, and you're actually wearing their sweater.
Yeah.
The Resistance. How was that transition? This is going to be your first fight with the Resistance. This is going to be a new whole different home now. How was that transition?
You know what? It's great. I'm training with a lot of familiar people and a lot of new people. So it's been a great transition, great vibes, great people around me. I've changed camps before, and sometimes you need to change things up. You kind of get, you know, in this, you know, you start to, I don't know, plateau at one spot or another. And now I've kind of been able to kind of open my eyes to new things I want to add into my game. And, you know, it's great. It's a great team atmosphere. You know, everybody says that, but, you know, people are looking out for, you know, I get, you know, you may have a bad day, but, you know, I get, like, by the time you get home, you get your, you know, your training partner that day, as much as you can be in that atmosphere. And, you know, it doesn't matter, good days, bad days, but you got to push. You know, I have a fight coming up and they're going to push me, you know, whether I'm, you know, wanting to quit or not, they're making sure that I'm going and I'm not going to stop. But, you know, in the same part, I get a message, you know, a few hours later, you know, how's it going? How you going? You know, want to know, you know, maybe you're going, you know, I've had, you have hard things that come into your life. Like, we're talking like about my niece and stuff like that, you know, maybe wasn't such a good day. And as much as you don't want to take it with you into the gym, sometimes it does come through. You know, everybody just kind of looks out for one another, and it's great.
Awesome. And I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'll let you go, since you're a busy woman. And this is a pro to amateur episode. So is there any advice you would want to give to those amateurs, those people barely starting off in martial arts and fighting?
I mean, it's going to be frustrating, especially when you start. It's going to be, yeah. So I'll try not to say bad words, but it's going to be really frustrating. And just kind of stick with it, you know. Find a good place to train, you know. Find somewhere where you feel comfortable, where, you know, you're looking forward to, you know, going into the gym every day, you know, have a good environment around you. You make sure you're getting everything that you need. Take that time. You feel like it's, what, I'm not going to lie. I kind of feel like we're kind of hit with some individuals where it's like, you need to take that time and recover your body. They said not overtraining, but also don't be a wuss. Okay. You got, because I have seen both sides of it where I have been like, I've found out like, months after my fight, I've been training through a torn knee. But, but also you have to be able to push yourself every single day to the point where, you're not at the point of getting injured, but you still want to put that time and effort in. You drill. So many great things that you can do and take care of yourself, truly.
Awesome. And is there anything, where can people find you on Instagram or on the internet?
On the World Wide Web. You can check Alexis Davis MMA, my Twitter, my Instagram handle. Oh, what? Do you have a question for me?
Huh? Oh, yes. You're a big fan. Actually, a question from Gloria. She's a really, really humble person, and she's a really big fan of yours. And she does have a question. She said, well, I already asked that question. She does want to know, do you feel like you're a pioneer, a legend in the sport?
I really, I hope, like, one of my good friends, Charlene, she's actually just found out she's got a fight coming up too at the end of the month. And she's always like, oh my God, you're Alexis Davis. She trains with me every single day. She's like, oh, I'm talking about, I'm such a big fan. You know how cool you are. I'm like, I'm just like anybody else. Like, I don't really feel it. For me, I'm like, I'm Alexis, I'm a mom, I go every day, I go to the grocery store, same with everybody else. And, we all have good days, bad days. I'm cooler than I really think I am, which I appreciate, I guess, in some parts, but I'm trying to put in the same amount of work as everybody else.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie. I'm nervous. I was nervous for this interview because you are someone that us fight nerds all look up to, or people that just want to fight in general. We all look up to you. You've had an amazing career. I think you're ready for your next run. I think that you're at a good gym and good people. I love the people over there, and people don't know that. I mean, I don't even know if you know, but I've asked other professionals to be on the show, and they said yes. They said yes, and then kind of just like ignore me. I just want to let people know Alexis Davis is one of the most humblest people ever, because she doesn't have to do this show. Her name's big enough where she doesn't have to be on the small little Hassle of Hair podcast. And I just want to thank you for being on. And I really appreciate it. And you guys, she's going to be fighting February 27th on UFC Fight Night 186. She'll be fighting Sabino Mazo. And I'm really, really looking forward to that fight. Thank you for doing this, Alexis.
No problem. Anytime. Thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome. All right. Pro to amateur. We have Yanette Garcia Borbin.
Correct.
She's just celebrating her year anniversary for her marriage, which that's an awesome. You guys are white belts, and actually no, you guys got promoted to blue belts now in marriage.
Yeah. Blue belt, right? Barely there. We've made it through the whole year.
He makes everything like with martial arts to like it doesn't matter what it is. Like it'd be cooking. Like this is like considered like martial arts right here. Like this is the beginning stage. So now he's just funny saying that you guys are blue belts in marriage now.
I think
that is true.
Purple belts. Me and my wife are purple belts now. So, welcome to the Pro to Amateur. Thank you for coming on the Hassle of Hair. And I like I told you, we're just trying to highlight martial artists during these weird times. And I guess I'm just gonna flat out ask you, how did you find martial arts?
I started when I was
maybe around 7 or 8 years old, I started doing Taekwondo. And the reason why I started even doing that was because I was watching a lot of anime, like Dragon Ball Z and all those like things. So I really like caught my attention. And when I was little, I was just kicking and punching, and I really bugged my mom because I wanted to learn. So she finally gave in and then put me into Taekwondo.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when did fighting come to be?
Wow. Fighting came, I think my first fight was at 22, I believe. And yeah, started doing Muay Thai like at 21. I did it as a Groupon. So I got a Groupon for, I think it was like a month at AKA. And then I was like, oh, might as well just do it. And then I got hooked, and then I liked it. And I was in all the classes that they had there, and that's it. I got hooked on it.
I think we've seen an interview where you mentioned that you were doing cardio kickboxing. It wasn't you weren't preparing to fight or anything.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Who came up to you? Who came up to you and told you, do you want to fight? Like how did that happen?
Yeah. So it was an old coach of mine who I was doing just cardio kickboxing, and I was just so into it. You know, I really like punching and kicking. And then he just came up to me. He's like, hey, you ever thought about fighting? I was like, no. And then that was it. Like, I was like, not really. But then after that, that's all I thought about. I was like, oh, maybe I should look into it, you know? And then that came out to like, oh, maybe I should just do a smoker, you know? And then, oh, maybe I should just do an amateur fight. And then here we are, like 15 fights later.
So do you only fight is it Muay Thai, or do you do MMA too?
No, I haven't done MMA. I was actually trying to do MMA maybe 3 years ago. But the fights that were lined up for me, they just get it. A lot of girls pulled out, and I just kind of got discouraged of that. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick to Muay Thai. So I just did Muay Thai.
How many fights have you had since you started?
I think it's either 15 or 14, I believe. Ugh. Yeah, one of those two. 15, 14.
And you own titles in Muay Thai, right?
Yeah, I own. Oh my gosh, I forgot how many. I think like 8.
She's all like,
bring me my belts.
I know. I'm like, where are they? I was like, oh.
Because I can't find your record. I know you're a beast because I've seen your fights. I've seen, and my friend Gloria has talked about you, and I just can't find your record on anywhere online. And I guess IKF, you can't really just search your name. You have to actually go and look.
Yeah, IKF hasn't updated in a while. They don't have my full record there. I think I'm there still for like, I think I have 8 fights there still. I don't know, but I fought in California. I fought in DC. I fought in New York for Friday night fights.
Oh wow,
those are really fun. Yeah, those are really, really fun. Being in New York for the first time and fighting. Oh, so amazing. Such an experience.
How did that go? Like, how was that experience? Did you get to visit New York, or did you?
Yeah. So the first time I went to New York, I went there to help out one of my teammates, Eric Luna, because he's a pro. He fights Muay Thai pro. And then I went there and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like everything was so dope being there and then seeing him fight. And then I actually had an opportunity. They were looking for another female around my weight. And I just jumped on it. So I was like, I told my coach, I'm like, yes, I want to fight there. Like, this is amazing. So maybe a couple months later. Was
this like a year and a half ago?
That was 2 years ago, the first time I fought there. Yeah, 2 years ago, I think 3 now. We're in 2021. 2018. I know, I'm like, I'm still in 2020 for some reason. I'm like, yeah, but 2018 was when I first fought in New York. And then I fought again 2019. That was my second fight in New York again.
That's awesome. And
yeah.
So you're amateur right now then, right?
Yes, amateur? I'm amateur. Yeah.
And you plan on going pro, or you just want to stay amateur?
I do want to. I wanted to go pro, but like the whole COVID thing, and I'm like, yeah, I wanted to like do a lot, like at least 2 or 3 more fights as an amateur last year, and like I just did one, and that was it. It's like back in February, and then everything like literally like 2 weeks after, everything just shut down, and I was like, well, we'll see. Like we don't know, but yeah, I definitely do want to do pro.
And I mean, I'm not putting you down in any way,
Mm-hmm.
but as a shorter fighter, how do you deal with that? Because I've seen your fights most of the time. The girl's taller than you, right?
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's taller than me. I don't think I've ever fought anybody that was like my height. No. They always had like some sort of advantage, but I'm lucky to have a really good coach, and we always come up with a really good game plan to like attack the fighter and figure out their weaknesses, get my strengths, and then just go from there.
Yeah, you have a really good overhand, right?
Yeah, thanks. It comes in handy with like taller fighters. That's like my go-to, right?
His last fight, the one you guys both fought in February, his fighter was like taller than him. Like
He was
they look like action figures, like standing together.
He was 6'4". I was 5'10".
Yeah.
Well, I'm 5'9". 5'10".
Oh, wow.
Somewhere in there. So what is your why for fighting?
Oh my God. I thought about this like a lot, but I don't know exactly what it is. It's just like a calling, I guess. I just really love it. It's something that I think about all the time. You know, I get up in the morning and I think about it. I'm like, I watch the fights. Yeah, I don't know the calling of it, but it's just like I just love to do it.
So when you're about to walk out, to the ring, and it's moments before the fight, and you're kind of just going over the fight in your head, what do you think about? Do you have a reason why you walk out there? Are you scared sometimes, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Whoever tells you, "Oh, I'm not scared," they're lying, because they are scared. Like there's always that possibility, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you train your best and everything, but there's always like that possibility of like you getting knocked out, you know, or something like that happens, or you're losing. Every time you go up there, you kind of like just put yourself in that position of you're very vulnerable in a sense. You know, you trained, but you're still very vulnerable. It's just you and that other person just looking straight at each other, and we're like, all right, let's do it. And it's so weird. I love it. It's like it's so weird. Like right when I walk up, like I used to get super nervous, and then the more I did it, the more I got confident in my walkout, and just like, you know, don't look at the crowd too much, just kind of focus in. And then just right when I go like stand across from my opponent, that's the best feeling, because I'm like, this is it. You know, this is what you trained so freaking hard for. This is what you made all those sacrifices. This is why you didn't go out and party with your friends and, you know, everything. And just looking at the other person, I'm like, okay, here we go. This is it. That's it. It's such a good feeling. It's so weird, but it's so good feeling.
And people don't understand that the day of the fight, there's hours of waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you even weigh in that day, and there's hours of waiting. You're just sitting there, and then finally the walkout comes out, and then you stand there across from your opponent, and it's like a relief. Like, oh, I made it.
Yes, it is almost like a relief, because you're like, this is it. Like, oh my God, it was like months of training and months of this and whatever, right? And then you're like, I'm here finally. You know,
that's awesome.
The final destination.
What does your spouse think of you fighting?
My spouse, he loves it. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. So he's done it for like 10 plus years. So he knows like what goes into it. He understands that like all the sacrifice that you have to go, like your passion. Like he has a passion for jiu-jitsu, right? So he understands me. So it's awesome.
And I don't have you ever tried dating a person that wasn't a martial artist?
No. Honestly, no. And it's not because I don't know. It just I tried maybe like a date. I tried like one date. I'm like, this is not gonna work. Like, it's such a different person like mentality. You know, I'm pretty sure you guys know. It's like such a different mentality, and like they don't understand why you do it. And you can't really explain it, so I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna suck." It's like it's not gonna work. Yeah,
I never understand anything that's going on in that head. So
yeah,
but it's true, because it's kind of like, what if he ended up being? What if he's gonna be that guy that's sitting on a couch yelling at the screen, like, "What is he doing? Why is he tired?" Or just talking crap, but he doesn't do it at all.
Exactly. No. He understands. the sacrifices, and he knows, like he understands
awesome.
everything. So that's why I feel like we clicked very well. You know, I knew he wasn't gonna be the type of guy that's like, oh, why do you have to go train? Can you stay home with me or whatever, right? Like, no, I need to go train. Sorry, I can hang out with you. You know, he understands that. So yeah.
And so during your journey of martial arts, what was one of the hardest parts and what was one of the best parts?
So when I started doing Muay Thai, and I think it was my second fight ever, my second amateur fight, I broke my collarbone like in the fight. So it's snapped in half. Like my right collarbone, I have like this huge piece of metal right here from the end to end and screws in there. So coming from that, I stopped fighting obviously for like almost a year and stopped training for like 8 months, 10 months. So that was very hard. I think that was the hardest part of like my whole career. Like my mom, pretty much everybody around me just kind of told me to stop doing it. You know, this is dangerous. Look what happened to you. And I remember sitting in bed, like recently getting out of the ER, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go back. Like, I can't wait for this to heal so I can go back and fight. You know? So, and it was just that struggle of like trying to like make everybody understand like this is something that I love. Like, I'm not just gonna give it up that easily. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy because like I didn't have my collarbone. My second fight, I broke my nose.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't want to say that I understand what you're going through, but it was just like, I could feel it, right? Because I posted a picture, I think 2 days after my fight, I still had the thing in my nose. My eyes were all black-eyed, and I go, I can't wait to fight. Like, I can't wait to fight again.
Yes,
right?
yes, you know it. You know that feeling, correct?
And
everybody's looking at you like, okay.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you've had the career that you've had after that. That's amazing. It shows the warrior that you are. And so, what was the best part? What was the highlight of your journey so far?
So far, I think one of the highlights of I think the two most that I think about, it's one, fighting in New York, like just like almost like a dream come true, like fighting in New York, you know, like, oh, you get to fight like there. That's always something that I really wanted to do. So it was one of the highlights. And I think the other one was when I fought in DC and I got a WBC belt for Muay Thai. So that was pretty awesome.
That's
and
awesome.
then like, yeah, so those are the two that I can think of.
And when you won that belt, the WBC belt, was it because you said your second fight you broke your collarbone, and then you win that belt? How many years later?
Wow, that was, oh my God, I broke my collarbone I think 2014, 2015, and I won the belt 2019. So around 4 or 5 years, around there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You go through all that and you finally win that belt. Like, did your parents, did everybody around you start seeing, okay, she has something?
Yeah, I think my mom kind of understood right after when I started going to train again, and then right after I got the broken collarbone and everything. I think it took me maybe like a year and a half to actually fight again. And that was the Kendra. That was the fight that I got my first fight back after I broke my collarbone. And even though I lost that, like I was still like, okay, this is fine. I'm gonna keep going. And I think that's when my mom actually realized, okay, I'm not, if like broken collarbone and a loss right after, it's not gonna stop her. Like, I don't know what else. So she just kind of let me, she's gonna let me do it. I was like, all right, just be careful, you know. Yeah.
So that fight, you brought up that fight with Kendra McIntyre. I watched that fight, and you may have lost, but that was a war. Both of you guys were just, it was just a good fight. And people don't realize, they think of amateur fighting, and they think that it's not fighting because it's not pro. That was a freaking fight, man. Like that was that's something that there's some fights in the pro level UFC that are not as good as that fight that I watched.
Oh, thank you. I think we just both like really are really dedicated. You know, she has a good camp, had a good camp and everything. So we both wanted it, you know. It was just the judges saw it her way, and that's fine, you know. But I'm still very proud of that fight. I think I was very proud of it because, you know, like all the like adversity that I had to come just to get through that fight. That was awesome for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you went through this journey of getting the belts. You've done Muay Thai for so many years now. How has martial arts changed you?
Well, a lot. It's funny because when I started after high school and everything, I went to college to be an engineer. And then I completely changed that right after I got into like maybe 2-3 years into college. I was like, nah, it's not for me. I really like fighting. I'm going to go into something else. So it really like, it completely changed my life. You know, like I was on my way to becoming an engineer and didn't turn out that way. I was like, nope, I like fighting more. So now I'm going for kinesiology and I'm going back to school now just so I can finish it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It just changed the trajectory. I need to go back to school. It changed the trajectory of your life, basically.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I can see why now your mom's like, okay, you're done fighting. Like you got school going on or something. And why everybody was like, no, you don't need to do it. We didn't know that you were going to school.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Someone's like, what are you doing with your life? You know, I was like,
I
just love it. Yeah. Yeah.
So I really want to highlight martial arts with this episode, the Pro to Amateur episodes. And there's a lot of people that second guess into walking into a gym or even getting good pad work from somebody that's doing personal training. And I know you do personal training too. You post you do conditioning.
Yeah.
Cardio kickboxing or something like that. Yeah, sorry, I can't talk right now.
It's all right. I'm the same way. Yeah, I do conditioning right now just through online because we can be like, you know, at a gym or whatever. But most of the persons that I train, they already have a bag. So they do everything on the bag. It's pretty much like a
bag class
workout. Bag class, definitely. Yeah. So I just, you know, you can do it without a bag, but if you have a bag, it's way better.
So why should someone start training in martial arts? Like, do you have any advice for them or why they should?
Yeah, it just gives you like a boost of confidence, you know, especially a woman like training martial arts. It's like, it makes you believe in yourself. You know, it's like society still has this feeling of like woman petite and like, you know, little and don't be too strong or whatever. But like really martial arts like brought me out of my shell. That's one of the things. Like it brings you out and it makes you very confident and makes you believe that you can do whatever you want to do. And then you don't have to be a fighter, right? You can just go there, get a good workout and just feel great about yourself and be like, I can defend myself if I need to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yanette, thank you for doing this. Where can people find you, get a hold of you, try to do your classes? Where can people find you on the World Wide Web?
where can they reach out to you?
So I'm mostly on Instagram. I do have a Facebook. I don't check it that often. I just go on there once in a while. But my Instagram, it's Yanette, so it's going to be YAHNET. Pretty much it. I post like where my classes are. I post like little clips of my videos for my fights and everything. Yeah.
Awesome. And any news on upcoming fights?
Not yet, but I really, really hope to fight this year. I'm hoping. I'm just
almost.
Like,
you're almost there. You're almost there.
Yes.
So, but thank you again for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
interviewed.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah, and
I had fun.
So go follow Yanette on Instagram, guys, and she's gonna be a future pro champion one day too, I think.
I hope so.
She's all yeah.
Bye, guys. It is Gloria Tellez, a amateur fighter, martial artist, Taekwondo black belt, overall funny, hilarious person on her YouTube channel. And, but yes, she is a martial artist that has fought in how many amateur fights now?
I think it's two. It was 2 kickboxing, 1 MMA, 3 kickboxing.
You fought in MMA? I think you told me you fought in MMA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 MMA fight.
That's a trip. But yes, it's pro to amateur. And today we're going to be highlighting Alexis Davis, which is pretty cool, right? So it's an all women's episode. Let's just start off with, how did you find martial arts?
The year was 1999. This is legit. This is true. It was 1999. My mom didn't have a car back then, and we would, if any of you guys from San Jose, if you know where Blossom Hill and Almaden is, we used to live back there, and we used to walk all the way to Oak Ridge Mall, and there was a big Toys R Us shopping center, so we would always walk by Toys R Us, and then there was a karate school right there. And for years, I begged my mom. I was like, I really want to do this. And it was one of those things where we didn't have enough money, and just my parents worked, so who could take me? And then finally, in 99, I was in 5th grade, and I said, can I do this? And she finally said, okay, are you sure? I said, yeah. So she made me call and set up my own appointment for my intro class to Taekwondo. And I was 10 years old at the time. This is a true story. Yeah. I was 10 years old at the time, and I had to translate everything to my mom and my dad. And it was like, the program director at the time was telling me, okay, you have to, it's going to be this much and this much. And I would come over here and like tell my mom, and she had a question. So I was doing this back and forth thing. And it was 1999, and I never stopped. That's basically how I found it.
That's awesome. And when did you decide to fight?
So I got my black belt in, I think, 2003. This was with the Ernie Reyes West Coast organization. And my instructor, Hector Rodriguez, we just knew a whole bunch of people, right? Because of Master Reyes and who he is. And there was an opportunity, I think when I was fighting like 18 or something like that, where there was smokers happening. So one of the brands of boxing gloves that we had at our academy for sparring and things like that was Fairtex. And in 2006, 2007, they had made a Fairtex Academy. There was always one in San Francisco, but they had brought one down to Mountain View. And they said, hey, we're going to do some smokers. Like, they were telling all the karate school or all the martial arts schools around the area, like, does anybody have any fighters? We're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. So we took our cardio kickboxing students to go do smoker fights. And it was pretty fun. You know what? They held their own. It was pretty cool. But from then on, I remember seeing people in the ring, and I mean, everybody had headgear and all that stuff, but people were going at it. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I was scheduled to do a smoker that day, and then my opponent like bailed or something like that. So there wasn't anybody for me. But then Kung Lee ended up having some over at his academy off of Montague and Milpitas. And my instructor, just being the person that he was, he's like, you know what, I'm going to have you guys, because we did point sparring tournaments. Yeah. And he said, we're going to go to continuous sparring tournaments. And so we ended up going, a whole bunch of us, to Kung Lee's academy when he had it over off of Montague. And
did you want to fight? Like, did you know you wanted to fight at this time?
I think I was just game. Like, I just, for me, being a girl, I wanted to make sure that my martial arts worked. Like, I wanted to kind of test it all the time. And believe me, I've never been in like a street fight. I'm going to knock on wood because I don't want to be in a street fight. I try to bring the peace, but I never got in a fight at school. There was like some bullying issues, but I never got in a fight at school. And I guess in the back of my mind was, if something were to happen to me outside in the outside world, would I be able to hold my own? So I just kept kind of wanting to test my martial arts skill all the time. And yeah, we started doing all the Born to Fight tournaments with Kung Lee. And then AKA started having smokers and tournaments over there with them too. So we started going over there. And next thing you know, this was Jane Estioko. Shout out to Jane and Carrie. They came up with a production called 408 Fights. And they had amateur and pro fighters. And I was lucky enough to be able to fight on 2 of those cards. And it was like the coolest experience. Like, I don't know, like, I guess like things just happen. And I just never, I didn't stop and notice like, oh, this is like, you know, you're asking all these questions and I'm going, oh wait, I did that. So I actually did that. But yeah, it was, I just wanted to test my skill, and then just opportunities kept happening. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. So it just kind of went from there.
That's awesome. And you kind of touched base on it. Like, you kind of didn't realize that you were fighting at the moment, right? But the moment before you walk out to the ring, right? Everybody has their reason why they're doing it. Like, do you know why? Like, do you have a why? Do you have a why you're walking out to testing yourself, fighting another person, throwing bones at another person? Like, what's your why?
I think that's a good question. The why came from I've taught martial arts for a long time, and I've always had students, whether it was 4-year-old or adults, and you know, where I'm teaching them roundhouse kick, I'm teaching them hook kicks, I'm teaching them front kicks, I'm teaching them side kicks, back kicks, and all this stuff. And I guess I wanted to be the example for them. Like, listen, we learn all this stuff on the mat, and it's in a controlled area, and you know, we hope that you never have to use it, but I want you to see what it would be like to actually put it all together and just kind of let it flow. So for me, it was, I guess the big why is my students, all of my students, from kids to adults, especially like little girls. Like, I wanted to make sure the girls saw that like women can do this. Like, you can really be a good fighter, or you can hold your own, or you can defend yourself at such a high level, and still carry yourself as a good person that martial arts is supposed to teach you. And of course, my family, right? You know, the fight world, the mental and physical aspect of it, I always saw it as a challenge, because I think about my parents and all the challenges that they had to go through, and my family that, you know, coming to this country and try to have a better life. And that's like what I'm doing, and mentally, physically, is nothing compared to what they had to go through. So there's like a lot of mental that goes along with right before you're stepping up into the ring, and you hear everybody yelling and cheering, and then you have to put it out there all on the mat, right? I know it kind of sounds like it's all over the place, but that's really what like goes on in my head, or what went on in my head still, as to why do you continue to do this every single day? Well, I want to be a good example, and I want to prove not just to myself, but to other people that follow you and look at you for guidance, that it's doable, that you can totally just do it.
Yeah. And the hardship that you're talking about from your family, you've talked about it before, because you were a guest in the beginning of the podcast earlier on, and they were immigrants from Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, like one story, and I've shared this with you guys, where I think about my mom tells me the story. You know, she had to walk in the desert for like 3 days, and you know, anything can happen in that desert, whether you live or literally you die. And so all the training, like running and all the sparring and all the getting hit in the face and kicked in the leg, and even all the grappling stuff, is nothing compared to what people have almost like a fear inside of them to try to get to this side to create a better life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's how I related to it. And so purposely we would train like in the hot sun. My instructor and I, we would run up the hills right in the smack dab middle of the day, made sure that it was like the hottest point of the day, because if I can get my mental game strong for this fight, it's not that it's going to be easy, but you're having a bigger purpose as to what you're doing in there, more fuel, I guess, if you want to call it.
That's awesome. I always think your story is awesome, right? Like, I've known you for a while now, for about 8 months, and I really got to know you through the pandemic, and just seeing how your parents raised you and the kind of person you are, it shows a lot. And I think you're more than a fighter. I think you're overall just a good martial artist, right? It takes a different kind of person to learn a skill, and in that skill, it's not really, you don't see a lot of people competing, right? Taekwondo, like mainly Taekwondo people. Like, you go to AKA and like all of them are almost competing, right? I would think. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's hard to. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's I guess martial arts has turned into something. It's not a trend. It's martial arts has turned into something where everybody has more access to different arts at the same time, versus back then it was like you studied one art and then you kind of stuck with that one and you develop your skill from there. But now martial arts is, you know, it's turned into true mixed martial arts where every single person has a lot more access to it, and they're able to go out and compete in that area.
Nice. And what are some hardships, like things that have been hard through your journey of martial arts, and what's one of the hardest moments, and what's one of the greatest moments in your martial arts journey?
I think one of the toughest ones is back when, I'm not gonna say it's like back then, but it was when martial arts, when women started fighting, it was so brand new that there wasn't a lot of women competitors, especially with different weight classes and all that stuff. So it was tough to see the men just kind of dominate it, and it's like, give us a chance, because I remember I call him Quantum Scott because he's one of the black belts from our association. He's one of Master Reyes' students. And but Scott Coker, he was the one that said, yeah, I'll let women fight. Actually, here we go. Here's Chris Cyborg and here's Gina Carano. Ta-da! And I was like, dude, this is crazy. This is awesome. Because at the same time, Dana White was saying, I'm never going to have women fight in the octagon. So him saying that made it like almost like a bummer, like, but we're just as talented and we can do that stuff too. And then you got somebody like Quantum Scott Coker who says, yeah, they are. Let's just do it. Let's put it together. And I remember being in that arena at the SAP Center, watching Gina and Chris Cyborg just go at it. And it was like the first, I guess, in the United States, women's official fight with the hype and main event and all that stuff. And it was tough because a lot of people were like, they shouldn't fight. Women shouldn't even do it. Why are they even in there? And then I guess fast forward to one of the most amazing highlights is I fought at that same arena twice. And I never thought, actually, I'm just realizing that right now. Oh, dang. Yeah. But I did that. Like I'm sorry. It just went off in my head right now. Because again, you don't notice you're in the moments until they're past, right? Because you're so focused on what's going on, what you're trying to do. But the highlight, was I can say that I was able to be in the SAP Center in front of tons of people, just doing something that I absolutely love, which was martial arts. Not fighting. It was not. I was like, oh, I love fighting. I love martial arts. And everything that goes along with it. So Yeah, that's actually a good question, Jesse.
Yeah, I've been doing it a while now.
So you must have notes.
I do. Actually, I have.
This?
Huh?
Is that why you're doing this? Your eyes.
Yeah.
Don't edit this part out.
I'm not. I'm not. It's funny that you say that about like realizing stuff. In the martial arts journey, we forget the journey. I was talking to a pro fighter today who's about to fight this month, and it's kind of like I was telling him, I was like, dude, I first started talking to him during the pandemic. I knew of his career beforehand, but I first started talking to him through the pandemic. And when we first talked, I was like, there might not be any fighting, right? We both were like, man, what are we going to do? There's no more fighting. And all of a sudden we're months past that. And now he's a few weeks from fighting in a big organization. And
Awesome.
it's like, we forget to just stop and look at our journey through all of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's cool to see you realize that now. Like, you did something great. Like, that's great, right?
I mean, again, what I thought about, like turning 16, 17, 18 of wanting to do, it literally happened. And maybe, I guess it's one of those things where it happened so fast that now you're just going, wow, like I actually did that. I guess the manifestation, right, of what you want to do and what you're thinking about, and then actually making it happen. You just have to remember to be in the present. That's all.
Yeah, because I guess with fighting, you can't really think about everything else because you're about to get hit in the face. No. But how has martial arts changed your life? I'm running down my notes right now. That's why I'm asking you that.
Okay. How has it changed my life? When I walked into the academy and I met my instructor, I never thought I would be where I am and where it has led me. I feel like every person, and my instructor always says it too, every person in the world should do martial arts. It's very different from, and not to say that soccer and basketball are bad things, but the discipline and the grit that it teaches you to have is something that a lot of other sports aren't gonna teach you. And it's like one of those things where you kind of learn the hard way. But through this journey, I was a really shy kid, and obviously it shows that I'm no longer that shy kid. But I had to assist in classes, and I never liked to talk to people. And it forced me to talk to other people. It forced me to articulate a lot more. It really, teaching martial arts taught me how to get creative with just the most simplest things, whether it was associating it to something that student's going to relate to, or the physical movement of it, try to make it easier for somebody who's having a hard time. Obviously the respect level and the discipline level, and that the discipline level is probably the most key thing, because we're in a world where a lot of people don't have discipline. They can't, for whatever reason, do what they said they were going to do. And, we have certain levels of that for ourselves anyway, but the mental game of the whole thing is what I'm thankful to have. Plus all of my amazing students and teachers and everybody that I've met through martial arts, they're real people, and I appreciate those real relationships, and I'm thankful for those real relationships too.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that not a lot of people have discipline. When somebody has discipline, on the outside looking in, it looks like it's something so magnificent. Like, it looks like it's so great. Like, that person has a great life. But if you really look at that person that's disciplined, it's a pretty boring life. You wake up, you do what you love, but it's constantly, you have so much discipline where it's the same thing every day. It's pretty boring, and people make it this great thing. It's not. It's literally just do it and learn how to be disciplined, and you'll have a happy life. But it's not this great thing. It's pretty boring when you are disciplined, right? Does that make sense?
I mean, here's how I'm gonna put it together. Weight cuts.
Yeah.
Discipline for me, obviously I'm not in a weight cut right now, but discipline for me was this was when I was like eating meat and stuff. And I already did not like seafood. I hated fish. Don't ever get that stuff around me. But when I knew I had to cut weight, I forced myself to eat fish because I had to cut the weight. And to any other person would be like, I wouldn't do that. Hell no. I would have been like, okay, you can keep your fight. I'm keeping these pounds. But because you're so disciplined on, I need to do this, because eventually, what's the bigger picture, right? I want to go in there and I want to get my hand raised, right? I want to come out successful. So if I don't do the things that are going to lead me to that path of success, even if they sound mundane or it's just, why are you, you're eating the same thing every single day, 3 times a day. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I want to win. What am I supposed to do? Right? Unless you have a better formula, but this is what works for me. And yeah, I mean, I have fun.
Well, it is fun, but it's not, I get what you're saying.
Exciting. It's not like to everybody else is like, oh, that's really, it's not exciting. But to me, it's like, yeah, pretty much is, because guess what? I'm making myself better again, because I want to win. I want my hand raised. I want to have a successful fight, whatever that means, right? Win, lose, or draw. As long as you're walking out of the ring and you're shaking hands respectfully and bowing to each other, that's success.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. Last final question that I have in my notes that you called out. Why should someone start training? Like if someone came to you and they're on the border of wanting to train, step into a gym, but they're scared because it's a little intimidating. They think of fighters, they think of UFC fighters and Bellator, Conor McGregor getting knocked out, and they think it's intimidating. What would you tell them, and why would you tell them to start training in martial arts?
If I could tell somebody why they should start training for martial arts, I'd tell them because of the confidence that it brings you when it comes to your self-defense. It doesn't matter if it's Taekwondo, it doesn't matter if it's Jiu-Jitsu, it doesn't matter if it's Muay Thai, if it's Krav, if it's whatever. You're going to gain some sort of confidence. And when you have some confidence, you're going to carry yourself a lot different. And maybe that's why a lot of people are scared to try something new, especially something so physical. And again, for me as a woman, I always thought about self-defense, always, because I never wanted to be put in a position where I didn't know what to do, right? Like people who know me, or people who are going to meet me and they're like, oh, this is Gloria. Guess what? She fought at blah, blah, blah. And of course, everybody's like, oh, I bet you can kick my ass. And I'm like, nah, come on now. But if I had to like defend myself, I know that I can defend myself, right? So if I can ever, man or woman, child, whatever, it brings a certain level of confidence for you to be able to protect yourself. And why wouldn't you want that? And then you just wait for them to go, you're right. Get on the mat.
And you're the last person I'm interviewing for the Pro to Amateur. And I asked that question to 6 or 5 different people, and it's the same exact answer. That's crazy. I find that insane. It's the same exact answer. None of you guys know each other. Well, no, you guys know each other. Some of you guys know each other, but you guys didn't know I was asking these questions. And every single one of you, and not guys, women. I said guys, women. Every single one of you said the same exact answer, and I think that's freaking amazing.
It just kind of tells you what happens with women, of course. But,
yeah.
But it's, like I said, if anybody can do it, if you can just trust yourself that you're going to end up learning something so valuable for yourself, just go for it. Just do it. Just jump in there, dive in.
Yeah, hell yeah. And Gloria, you're one of my favorite people on this earth.
Hey.
Thank you for doing this Pro to Amateur interview. I'm giving you the last few words to say what you want to say to the people and where they could find you. Your last message. Plug anything you want to plug, and the stage is yours.
I'm gonna plug in my charger real quick, but no, but you mentioned Alexis Davis. Shout out to Alexis Davis because I told you already. I've had the pleasure to share the mat with her over at Kaio's, and from far away, just watching her and the way that she trains and watching her journey, she has definitely been one of those pioneers and those people that, man, that she is a tough lady, and I absolutely love her because she is that example. Just like I told you about my students, she is the example for so many people, and why a lot of us women decide to get into the sport. But yeah, I mean, thanks so much for having me on the Hassle of Hair again, and for such a different topic besides our extremely delicious pan dulce and we have. Where you guys can find me at La Gloria Panaderia 1978. But if you want to talk to me personally, you can talk to me at OMGEETELLES. I accept all friends. You won't be blocked. I'm just kidding. Unless your name is Diego, then you for sure will be blocked. No, I'm kidding, Diego. You're the man. Adaptive Sessions. But again, Jesse, what you and Raquel are doing, honestly, is one of the coolest things that I'm glad you guys are doing this. You guys as a couple, whether it's sharing your own personal lives to give everybody else an insight that, you know what you guys are going through is completely normal. So it's awesome. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate being on this again. I can't wait to do it again.
Yes. Thank you, Gloria. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And go follow her, guys. I'll have all her links below. Peace. Oh, hold on. I didn't. Hold on. Don't do the thing. Today one of our guests for Pro to Amateur is Carla Edwards, a fighter out of CSA and a MMA and potentially a Muay Thai fighter too, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Ideally both.
So Carla, how did you end up finding martial arts?
I kind of just started in like a cardio kickboxing class in college. My sister actually took me to it, and I don't really like ever take things seriously, and I saw her and she was like super serious and like super into it, and I was like, oh shit, all right. So then the people who ran the studio had their own like MMA gym, so I just ended up, they were like, you should really come to our gym, you would love it, blah blah blah. So I was always super athletic growing up, so it just kind of was like a continuation, like a new outlet that I could just kind of compete and train and practice. So just kind of found it through college.
Did you ever plan on fighting though, or did you just plan on just training?
I didn't really know what I planned on. I just kind of, at the time was like going through a lot, and it was really like a frustrating time for me. I had so much anger and so much whatever, and the guys were like, you should compete, you should fight, you'd be really good. And I was like, all right, sure. And in Wisconsin, they don't have like a lot of Muay Thai stuff. That's where I'm from originally. So it was like, if you want to fight, pretty much you do an MMA. So next thing you know, I was in the ring doing an MMA fight.
Yeah. When I first met you in the sparring room, you're one of the nicest people in the sparring room. You wouldn't know that you were a fighter until you actually said it, right?
Nobody.
Yeah, so.
Everyone's like, "What? No way."
Yeah. But when did you decide to fight? Like, do you remember the day? Do you remember when you had how did you decide to get the amateur MMA fight? How did that come to be?
Actually, there was one of the other females I was training with in my old gym. She's such a badass. She just ended up doing her first amateur fight, and just kind of watching her do that, it was super inspiring. And I was like, you know what? I can do that. That's super cool. I want to do that as well. So I think it was like leading up to her fight, I kind of was training with her and there for her fight camp, and then to go and see her compete was kind of like, oh shit, I want to do that. Like, so I think that was kind of the moment I chose. Like, yeah,
That's
for
awesome.
For sure.
And so I'm not for sure what your field is in, right? You are. What do you do for a job? You're a nurse? Not a. I don't know. I don't wanna
Close.
say-
Yeah, I'm a ergonomics evaluator. I'm a contractor at Chevron. I actually went to school for engineering, so kind of bounced all around. I used to work in pharmaceuticals, so I do have a full-time job, but with the pandemic, it's been remote, so
It's easy to
interesting.
train and
Yeah, that's like one thing that has been really nice about the pandemic. Just with my job, I have more flexibility, so I get to train a lot more, which has been really, I'm grateful for it.
And you moved from your hometown to California, right? And then
Yeah.
the next gym you're at is CSA, which is one of the best gyms out there in California.
Yeah.
And when did you decide to move to California? Like, was it because of your job?
and why California?
Yeah, why California?
So I actually have family here. My mom has a huge side of the family. So I have 2 aunts and an uncle here. So I kind of grew up visiting, and I love the weather. Wisconsin is so cold, so cold. I can't stand it. So the weather, and then just like growing up visiting family, just seeing how beautiful it is here and stuff. I was like, for some reason, like, I want to move to California. I want to move to California. And then I actually didn't move here for a job. I just kind of like hit a point in Wisconsin. I was at a pretty low point in my life, and I was just like, yeah, I need a change. I need something different to happen. So actually, one of my aunts who lives out here, she offered me a position working with her company. And I lived with her for 6 months and worked with her, and just kind of, I'm trying to find my way, figure out what I want to do, whether it's more full-time fighting, whether it's more, do I want like another engineering job? But I think I definitely like California. It's a lot different. I'm learning that slowly. But yeah, it was just kind of a combination of I just needed a change, and I got presented with a really great opportunity. So I kind of jumped on it. And then here I am.
Awesome. And what's your why for fighting? Like, what's your why? What's the reason to get in the cage, in the ring, or to even pursue a fight, right?
Yeah, that's a hard question. Honestly, I still kind of struggle with that from time to time. But ultimately, I think it's to prove not only to other people, but also to myself that like you're so much more than the negative thoughts in your head, than the negative things people think about you. Also, it's just that challenge. It's really to be able to work so hard for something and have it pay off. Like, I know my first PKB that I ever did in California, it's like I busted my butt for that, and I felt so confident going into it. And it was one of the greatest feelings afterwards, just to like be like, yeah, I trained so hard and it really paid off, just to feel that sense of accomplishment.
That's awesome. And is that the same reason why you went to school? Do you think those go together? Or do you think fighting's just a whole different level?
Yeah, fighting's just something totally different. I think I went to school and college just because it's so, it's what you're supposed to do. At least in my family and everything I've grown up with, it's like, okay, you go to high school, you go to college. And I think, I kind of got into the same mentality with school because engineering was really challenging. So just to be able to like take that sort of challenge and be like, yeah, I did this. This is something like I busted my butt for this degree. So it's kind of similar in a different sense, but fighting is definitely its own thing because obviously as an amateur, you don't make money to fight. It's really hard to establish a career or any sort of profit from it. So it's a lot different.
Do you want to stay an amateur, or do you plan on going pro or anything?
I would love to go pro. Just to be able to say that I was a professional athlete would be so cool. Like, oh, I would love it. So I don't know. We'll see. I have to figure out what that would look like. I've had one MMA fight as mentioned, but I'm terrified to do it again. So I don't know if I'll just stay Muay Thai or something, but I would love to be pro at some point.
Yeah, the moment before you go out there is always terrifying.
It is.
Well,
It's
for me, it is.
what's happening?
Like I gotta take my shirt off and be in like basically short shorts in front of all these people, like, and then I'm gonna go get punched in the face. I don't know.
I'm always there to like pick him up afterwards, like when he gets home, like after the fight, and he's bruised up or broken. Like
Yeah.
his
My
first
nose-
one,
my
his
nose.
nose was busted.
Yeah.
Oh,
Couldn't walk. Like I had to carry him to the bathroom. Like
oh man.
like
Feed him
it's
snacks.
She didn't feed me snacks. No, but speaking about broken noses and hardship, what are some of the greatest moments in your martial arts journey, and what are some of the what was one greatest moment, and what was one hard moment in your martial arts journey?
I'll start with the hard one because that's pretty easy. When I did my MMA fight, there was just so much leading up to it that did not go as planned. Where I was at in my life on a personal level, and then last minute my opponent switched. I had to do a 13-pound weight cut. I didn't rehydrate properly. I got to the fight, and like, keep in mind my whole family was there, all of my friends, like, because I was proud. I was like, I've been working on this, like I've been in the gym grinding my ass off, like I want you guys to see everything. And just, I got my ass kicked. I got rocked.
The way you say it, it's
Ooh, it was like, so just like, I mean, I'm proud of myself for going all 3 rounds, for sticking it out, everything. But the hardest moment was after that final bell rang of the 3rd round. And it's like, I knew I didn't win. I knew I did not perform good at all. I knew my whole family was there. They just watched me get my ass beat. Like, that was for sure the hardest moment, like hands down. It's part of the reason why I'm like still so hesitant to fight MMA again. And then
kind of the reason why you're still wanting to do it too, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm scared to do it, so I know I should do it. Plus, it's like that fight is still out on YouTube, and it's kind of embarrassing. Yeah. So I just like, I can't let the world know me as that only as a martial artist. Like, I got to do something better.
What does your family think of it, though? Do they think you're crazy for doing this?
Yeah. My mom was like hoping it was a phase that would like pass within like a couple weeks. I think my dad like secretly thinks it's kind of cool. I think he used to box when he was younger. So yeah, they're getting it now just because they don't have a choice. They're like, all right, this is what she does now. Cool.
So after you fought, your mom was probably thinking, all right, like you're done. You had, you did your one-time thing. Now let's do something else.
Even my dad said that to me. I just remember after my fight, like he came up to me and I just was like the typical crying, whatever. And he's like, so you're done now, right? Like that was really hard for me to watch.
Yeah. Does he know the I guess the gym that you're at is a really good gym? Like, they
do now. Yeah. I've told them, I'm like, I'm in good hands. Don't worry. Like, I'm learning a lot. I'm improving. So just to show that improvement would be awesome. Like to be able to at some point bounce back, do MMA, and like have people be like, all right, I get it. I get why you're doing it, Yeah.
What was the greatest moment in your martial arts?
Yeah.
Journey?
The greatest moment would probably be, like I mentioned previously, that first PKB, because it was the first time I didn't even know what a PKB was, honestly, until I moved out here. Like I said, Wisconsin has nothing. It's either you're fighting MMA or you're not fighting, or like a jiu-jitsu tournament or something. But after that really, really hard loss, and after, moving to a new area, and just, I kind of was like going through some ups and downs, and just to go and compete. And I felt so good. I felt so good competing. Like, I remember between rounds, like Amber Pope was my corner, and
I'd say, was this
that was your first one?
Was this in Rockland?
Yeah.
In Rockland?
Yeah, that's the first time I met you guys, I think. Yeah. I just remember between rounds, I kind of like freaked out a little, and then I went back out. And after I won, I was taking my gloves off, and I just looked at Amber Pope. I was like, that felt really good. I was like, that was amazing. Oh my gosh. Cause it was like, you always think like, yeah, I'm good. I can perform. And then to actually like go out there and perform really good. Oh, it just felt so good. So that's kind of like what I've been chasing ever since. Just hope to get back to that.
That's awesome.
Did you have any like, I know a lot of people were planning, like Jesse was planning going from amateur to pro last year, but then pandemic. Did you have any plans with fighting, like within last year to like, I want to do this, I want to do that?
Yeah, I definitely, I have to do another PKB. So I'm hoping, I know they're starting to do some again. So hopefully I can do that.
Yeah.
I would love to make my amateur Muay Thai debut. And then I did have a goal of competing in some jiu-jitsu tournaments as well, which I wasn't able to. I don't know when those will be back.
Those are I think honestly, like those are the most, like as a competing wise, I think jiu-jitsu is the funnest.
They were pretty exciting. How you were saying like that your loss is on, YouTube and everybody could see it. I think Jesse's last one, jiu-jitsu match, he got his back taken and he got choked out. And the guy that choked him out made him a thumbnail for the YouTube. Like, it's just Jesse like that. So
it's still, he has like 10,000 subscribers and like everybody just, I was bigger back then. I'm just like this.
Yeah,
like,
so Jesse's a thumbnel like getting choked out, so that's all over YouTube
like,
as well.
Jesus.
Hey, sometimes any fame is good, right?
I don't know about that one.
So every time like when he would go, I'd be like, "Don't get your back taken!" Like,
but so for me, martial arts literally changed me. I look at myself 3 years ago. I'm a completely different person. How has martial arts changed you in your life?
Yeah, I think it changes so many people's lives. I mean, I feel like it really, really, really benefits so many people in such a positive way. Personally, it's made me a lot healthier. Growing up, I was just telling my roommates about this. I was like the female equivalent to a jock. Like if you think about in high school, like someone who doesn't really care about school, they party too much, they just do sports. Like that was me. And then when I got to college, emphasis on partying too much, like just, it was crazy. And then when I kind of went through like a rough time in my life, I was really angry. I was like drinking a lot to a really unhealthy point. And it was just like, I didn't have sports. I didn't really have anything. So to find that like rock or that stability again of, okay, well, I can go out tonight, but I have practice tomorrow. So do I want to feel like shit? No. So just, it really has made me a lot more health conscious. It's made me want to be, well, it has made me a better person too. I'm a lot less angry. I know I seem nice all the time, but I have my moments where I kind of freak out, but those have like totally decreased. So just overall, I still have my moments where, I like to go party, do whatever, but it's a lot less frequent, which is in the long run, super healthy.
Awesome. This episode, Pro to Amateur, I just really want to focus on martial arts because it is during the pandemic. Yes, everybody's kind of still training under the radar, but
maybe or not.
but I feel like martial arts it's I don't want to say it's crumbling or dying. It's hurting right now, right? Like in my head, a lot of people are selfish and think my gym, my fighting career, my thing. In my head, I'm like, no, this is all our baby. This is our martial arts. We got to help grow it together and getting the voice out of what it's doing for people I think is part of it, right?
Yeah.
Why should someone start training? Like if you know somebody that doesn't train or is scared of martial arts, why do you think someone should go into martial arts?
I think to start, at least all females, they should have some sort of base of a way to know how to protect themselves. I have a lot of younger cousins and just female cousins in general. And I'm always like, hey, you guys need to learn a little bit of jujitsu. You need to learn the basics. So I think from a point of just having that confidence of like, I can defend myself no matter what happens or whatever like comes down the road, you know, just that sense of safety and security. Also, I just think a lot of people, everyone has things that they struggle with, you know, whether it's a mental health aspect, whether it's a physical health aspect. And I just think martial arts is so rewarding because nobody else can give you the results, or you have to work to kind of like get that end result or that end goal. And it's so satisfying when you do, even if it's for fitness, you know. I lost 10 pounds. Nobody else could do that except me. And I think martial arts is so good because it's like something different all the time. Whether it's, oh, I want to try wrestling, I want to try jujitsu, I want to do striking. Within one of those, you're going to fall in love with it. And then you're going to be able to kind of like better yourself physically and mentally.
Awesome. That's right on the button. Like
You sound like a dad. That was right on the button.
I am. I try not to be cringy, but I end up being cringy all the time. But
sorry.
Yeah. Thank you again, Carla, for doing this. Like I said, this is the Pro to Amateur episode, and we're just trying to highlight martial arts. And you're someone that I've met through my martial arts journey that is really, I guess, I want to say a really good person, right? It's hard to find people that are just genuinely good people. Yeah. And where can people find you on the web?
I don't even really know. I'm not very socially savvy. I think like my Instagram thing is like Carla Jane, and then yeah, that's about it. LinkedIn. Okay. Just kidding.
If you have LinkedIn, I'll put your links in the bottom and in the I guess the details of the episode and stuff. I'll put all those links. I'll have all of them up. So, but thank you again for doing this, and
yeah,
I appreciate
thank you for having me.
And thank you guys. With us, Shanna Gozo. Right, and you fight under One World Team USA.
World Team USA.
World Team USA under PRO2AMATEUR and Archangel.
TJ Archangel.
TJ Archangel.
Yeah.
And I was just telling you that PRO2AMATEUR's really cool to watch when he's coaching on the corners, because he picks up the student or the martial artist when they're fighting and like shakes them out and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Pick me up.
And he's like 6 foot. He's like 6'1", right? He's pretty tall. Maybe 5'10".
I don't know. I mean, everyone's taller than me, so maybe.
So, you are an amateur fighter of 11 Muay Thai fights, and how did you find martial arts?
It's because of my dad. So my dad was a martial artist back in the Philippines. He did different kind of martial arts, except Muay Thai, but he's doing Muay Thai now. When I was 7, he had his own gym, or he teaches at a gym in the Philippines, and he tried to get me into karate or something, or martial arts. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it because I was 7 and it was my dad that was teaching me. But here, fast forward to like when I was 13, my dad wanted me to learn self-defense because I'm an only child. So he wanted me to learn self-defense, and then he showed me World Team USA, and that's how it started. I basically was forced by my dad. So I don't want to say like, yeah, I'm like just all about martial arts, because I wasn't. I was forced.
Yeah. When did you decide that this was something you wanted to do competitively?
After my first fight. So I was forced into my first fight. It was kind of like, hey, just I know. I think I was like maybe 15 or 16 when I first fought, and they're like, just try this like tournament. And then I did it. It was in Santa Clara, and right after that I just fell in love. I love the feeling of like working so hard for something, and then after you get that goal, like that feeling that you can eat pizza afterwards, it's the best.
I don't, there's something about the, like right now I just my coach told me that we have a fight for me in 4 months, and who knows if that's gonna go right, if that's gonna happen. 4 months is a long time from now, but I keep on thinking what I could eat afterwards already. Like
exactly, that's the best part. That's why I fight. You know?
That's pretty funny. But so through this journey, what's your why through all of this? Why do you go out there to the ring, and why? I mean, you have 11 fights. That's big. I mean, how many? You're almost gonna be pro if you keep on going, right? So what is your why through all of this? Why do you fight? Why do you train? Why do you do all that stuff?
Honestly, it's just because it's so much fun. Like the community, my teammates, everyone in the Muay Thai community, like I'm friends with, like they're so much fun. I like even my opponents, you know, I think Muay Thai fighters are like the most humble fighters I ever met. Like I remember, you know, fighting like Gloria Tellez, like we fought, you know, and I looked up to her, like she was great. We fought before and afterwards, it was just all hugs, you know. That's I think my why is just for experience. And also it's the Muay Thai is the reason why I'm able to, you know, finish school, stay motivated, because I would always connect it to Muay Thai. Like if you really want something, you got to work hard for it. And I feel like without Muay Thai, I would be doing something else that I won't really be proud of. So that's my why. The people, the sport, and just hitting things is great.
That's a pretty good why to hit things. And it's funny because I've had 2 Muay Thai fights and then 2 MMA fights, and being in the world of Muay Thai for a little bit, it's only been like a year and a half, and being in this world, I was so amazed on how humble the events are. Like there's something about, I mean, not all Muay Thai events in America have the music, right? The Thai music. There's something about when that Thai music comes on. One, it gives me anxiety because I keep like I remember the fight, right? But 2, it's kind of soothing at the same time. It's really, really cool. It's a lot of people say like with Muay Thai, they want people to watch. So let's make it more not so culture, right? Or take the culture out of it and bring the UFC fans, or like the blood. I want blood, you know. But there's something about Muay Thai when you have that music going and you have the dance beforehand that is just so cool and so humbling. It's so amazing. Have you ever been out of the United States to fight?
No, I've been out of state to fight, but I've never been out of. I wish that was my goal. Like if I ever go pro, to like go somewhere else to fight, you know? Yeah.
Where's the farthest you fought so far?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas?
I did a card with my coach TJ Archangel. We did USA versus China for WCK, and I thought that was really cool.
And how did that experience go?
It went well. I remember it was in 2018. I think it was my first or second time in Vegas. I remember fighting. It was like nothing at all because I fight with no gear. But for this one, because of like the TV purposes, we couldn't wear elbow pads, and I felt so. I mean, I had no elbow, but I felt so free and cool. Like, oh, I'm not wearing elbow pads, but it was great. Me and my coach both won the fight. He fought someone from China. I fought someone from like a random state because I was an amateur. You know, I'm an amateur, so I didn't fight anyone from China. But it was so much fun. I think they paid for our plane, they paid for our hotel, and I just felt like it was really cool.
There's something about when the promoter pays for your hotel, like it's just like you feel like a king or a queen, right?
I know. I feel like a celebrity and be like, yes, I know I'm gonna get punched in the face tomorrow, but this is great. I was like, I'm getting flown to get punched in the face,
Yeah, I think my first MMA fight, they paid for the hotel, and I was just so amazed. I was like, I could do this all the time. And then after the fight, I'm like, I don't know about all the time, but it was really fun. What's one of the hardest things about your journey through all of this, and what's one of the greatest moments through your journey?
I think the hardest would be, it's always training for fights. It's hard. I think with training for fights, I have to that's 8 weeks that we have to go through, right? For training for a fight, we go through 8 weeks, and all those 8 weeks, I can't really spend time with my family, my friends. I have to say no to parties. I can't eat pizza, and also that's like the more
like the more basic, not basic, but like eating, you know. But it can be emotionally draining because, you know, just because I'm training for a fight, it doesn't mean that everything has to stop. So I'm still working. I was in school. And I think it was also like emotionally draining because there'll be days that I'm just like doubting myself, like, oh my God, like I'm gonna lose this fight. Like, you know, I'm sure you've had those moments when you're like sparring or training for a fight and then your teammate just whoop your butt and you're like, I am not ready to fight. Like I'm not ready, you know? And I think that's the hardest for me. It's just like every time I train for a fight, it's me versus me because it's always me because I know my weakness and I know how to push my buttons basically. So everything that I say about myself, like it messed me up in the head and I always have to kind of like get myself up again and be like, no, you're training for a fight, you're gonna be okay. So I think that's the hardest part of training for me, at least. That's the hardest part. Just physical and emotional is always the hard part for me.
It's funny because I think family and friends are the ones that are not in the fight world are the ones that don't understand. They really don't understand why you can't go to these events and these parties and why can't you hang out like during the weekends, and they don't understand the sacrifice, and you could fight like so many times, they still don't understand, right? And it's a dedication, and I think you're right that the mental part and also the physical part it's very, very hard. It's draining. What's one of the greatest moments in your martial arts journey?
The greatest moment would be, I think when I won my first, I only have one belt, my first title, for MTG, because I remember going to MTG, the first event, and I was like, I want to get a belt, you know? And then I did like three, like, Muay Thai Global was the first event that, and my coach TJ, he was actually the one that put me on this, because I would always be like, no, I don't think I'm ready for an amateur. I'm not ready. And my coach TJ was the one who was like, I'm gonna put you in this card. And then MTG got me on, and I had like 3 wins, and then after 3 wins, like Anthony Quesada, the promoter, was like, hey, let me put you on a title fight. And I remember fighting someone who was also undefeated, and I just remember like it was the greatest moment when I won that belt, because that's what I've always wanted when I was like 15. It was kind of like, I want to win a belt, you know, like, because I would look up at TJ and be like, yo, like, I want a belt like TJ. Like, I remember we had a photo shoot and I borrowed TJ's belt, like, can I borrow this, you know? And then just to have my own, it was the best feeling ever to know that all those trainings, you know, like for 6 weeks of trainings and like the struggles during his training, and then and it was a really close fight too. When I did that, it was a really close fight. And I worked hard for it. That was the greatest feeling, is just to like getting that belt. And you know, I want to get more belts, but there's a pandemic. But that was the greatest thing. And I feel like that's like everyone's greatest feeling, is just getting their first like title fight, you know. So that's the one that I really like.
Yeah, it means a lot, right? You worked your butt off. You said since you're 15, and I think, me personally, I'm always envisioning things. I'm always thinking of, okay, this could happen, and I'm doing this. Like, I always see myself winning a fight or in a fight. I vision the fight. I vision what I'm doing. I'm like, oh man, me and this guy we're gonna have a war. Or I'm gonna knock this guy out in the first round. Or it's just, you're always, I don't want to call it daydreaming, because it's more than that, right? Like, you're literally I'll be sitting down just thinking about fighting, right? Like it's so cool. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. So this whole entire episode, it's all women, right? And it's I think you're the last person I'm gonna be interviewing too.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're okay. You're okay. It's perfect. But I have asked this question to everybody that's been on the episode, but it's kind of different for women, right? I mean, it's really different for women, to be honest. And because as a man, it's so much like, as a woman fighter, how do I explain this? Like, it's just, it means more to be able to defend yourself when you're a woman. Hearing other women talk about it, it means a lot. And as a woman, how has martial arts changed you?
Oh, a lot. I feel like if I didn't have Muay Thai, I would be scared to go outside, you know, because it's pretty dangerous outside. I think I became more confident right? I know my worth, because this applies to like being able to like protect myself like outside, being able to know my worth, that like even when it comes to a relationship, right? Like not knowing that, like sometimes some people can be toxic, and knowing that like, no, I don't have to be in this type of relationship, and being able to move out, just basically just knowing your self-worth, being able to protect myself, and not being afraid to speak my mind. I don't want to be like, oh, like we can fight, you know what I mean? Like you want to argue, that's not me. I think that's another thing that Muay Thai taught me is like, when people try to start a fight, to me, I'm just like, I know what I'm trained for, and I won't use this outside. I'd rather use my skills in the ring, so I'm like mature enough to walk away and not use it, because I know I have it, you know what I mean? So it taught me to be humble. It taught me to walk away when things are getting escalated with other people. And I think like it's just a great thing for, at least for women, to know that you can defend yourself and you don't have to rely on guys to protect you.
Yeah.
Sorry, no offense.
No,
No offense. I'm just saying,
sense.
we got our hands basically and legs to kick. Yeah, but I think that's why I am thankful that my dad forced me into Muay Thai, because I feel like without it, I might not be as confident. I'm not as confident. I might not be as confident to like speak my mind, and like if something is like bugging me, that I probably won't say it out loud, because I'm just like, oh, like it's okay. Like what do I know? You know what I mean? So I think martial arts really just helped me all over as a person.
That's amazing. That's awesome, and it's cool hearing everybody's like views on that, how it changed them, and that's awesome for you to. Because I want my daughter, I keep on telling her, like, you have to learn how to defend yourself. For some reason, she keeps on telling me, like, I don't like sweating. It's like, really? I think my next question actually is about this. Like, if there's someone, or even a woman fighter, even a person, not a fighter, but even a person just not doing martial arts, and they're kind of on the edge of wanting to do it. Or they kind of want to, but they're kind of scared, or they don't want to step into the gym or work with a personal trainer that holds mitts and all that stuff. What would you tell them? Why should they start training in martial arts? Those people that are on the edge about starting.
I would say, of course, it's good for self-defense, but not everyone that starts martial arts wants to fight, which is, I understand, but I think it's a good mindset to have. It's good for you, it's good for your body, it's good for health, and just the feeling that, you just learn more new things, like punching and kicking, and you always feel great after a workout, right? So yeah. It's like good for your mind also. And it's a never-ending thing. Like I feel like with a regular like running, I don't want to say like with running you could learn everything, but I feel like in Muay Thai or martial arts, there's like million of things that you can learn, million of things that you can work on. Like you'll never get bored. I have a short attention span, and with Muay Thai, Muay Thai keeps me alert, and like there's so many new things that you can learn in martial arts, or just anything. And I think it would like that confidence that they can get from it, right? Like even if they don't think to fight, or their goal is not to fight, I feel like it's still good to have it, just to punch things. Like maybe what if someone upset you? Hit things, because that's how I started. I didn't want to fight, but then like the more you learn about it, you just fall in love with it. And I feel like you shouldn't force it. So like, okay, I'm gonna train Muay Thai to fight. I feel it's just like, just get started, see how you feel, and once you start falling in love with it, just go for it.
Awesome. You know what, Shanna? It's Shanna, right? Shanna. I keep on
Shanna, yes.
Shanna. I keep on wanting to say Shanna, but it's Shanna.
It's Shanna.
Don't ever lose your energy. Like you have a really good energy, you have a really good vibe. Like you just like really positive. I could feel it. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank
you. Not like spiritual, right? I don't want to get all spiritual, but like the energy that you have and that you bring, it's awesome. Don't ever lose that. And thank you for doing this. Thank you for telling people your story. And if there's anything else you want to tell people, you could tell them now, or if you would just want to say where people could reach you, just let them know. The floor is yours. What do you want to say?
Pizza's great. I'm telling you, I'm not used to this. I don't know. I don't really have anything to say. If y'all want to follow me, you can find me on Instagram. I don't know.
What's your Instagram? What's your Instagram?
I don't know how to spell it. Hold on.
When you got to get used to this. So when you become a professional fighter and people are interviewing you, you gotta be able to say, "Hey, this is my Instagram."
Yeah. I only have one social media, so yeah, it's Instagram. It's Shanna. It's SHANNNAHS. Yeah. So you can just put it whatever in below, but
Awesome.
yeah, thank you.
I'll put in all the links in the bio for this episode and all that stuff, so people could reach out to you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a part of Pro to Amateur, and I can't wait to see you fight and see the future of your journey. Thank you.
Hopefully. Thank you.